Starting. Okay. All right, we're live. Hey, everybody. My name is Gordon Zhu. I'm the founder at watchingcode.com, and welcome to our weekly Monday office hours. The purpose of these sessions is to help you get through anything, any of the lessons at Watching Code. So if you're stuck with something, you can ask a real person. You can directly ask me, and I can try to help you get through any issues you're having. A couple logistics before we start. Number one, you'll want to join the Facebook group to get info about upcoming sessions, especially if there are schedule changes and things like that. Also, there are just announcements here that we post once in a while, so you'll want to check that out. And then second is if you have a question, then you'll want to call in and ask over video chat. The way you do that, if you're watching on the YouTube live stream, is in the video description, there's going to be a link to this Google document. Open that, and then you can click this Google Hangouts link. And you should be able to get to it like that. Someone just posted the link's not working. Let me reset it. It looks like it's working. Oh, okay. So they corrected. It's working now. Anyway, continuing on. There's new stuff. There's Accounting JS 24 was released on, I think it was Saturday. So that's new. And that goes over the very last function that we have left to review in the Accounting JS library. So if you're subscribed to the premium membership, you'll see that. Please mute if you're not talking, and be mindful of background noise. So that's it. Yeah. So call in if you have a question, and then we had the new stuff, Accounting JS 24, which was released on Saturday. So you want to check that out. And then from here, we'll just move on to open questions. Okay. So I guess we'll start with Sherry called in first. Start with you.
I don't really have any questions again. As I said before, I've actually been doing a lot where I'm kind of like in the testing series, how we create the functions mimicking the native methods, but without using it. So I've just been doing a lot of exercises, kind of creating other functions that are mimicking some of the native methods in JavaScript. So for example, slice and splice and join and doing things like that, kind of building off of the testing series we did. So it's been good. It's been interesting.
Okay, cool. Well, if you think of anything, just let us know, Sherry.
Okay, yep. And I didn't get to watch the new video yet, so I'm hoping to do that in a few days.
Cool. All right, so we have Voya next.
You hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'm on the Beast Challenge 4, and have been, so after the Beast Challenge 3, the Beast Challenge 4 is the one with creating libraries out of order. I have done the third one. It was a bit tricky, but then I figured the way how to do it, and then I was actually reviewing the testing part a bit, and also went through recursion, and then went back to working on this problem, but I could not really figure it out on my own, so I had to peek at other people's answers. And I kind of understood now how it works and what should be the answer and how the code should be structured, but I'm still not sure if I understand it completely. So I thought if I can just go with you through the debugger, just with the last step of the code, and just to see if everything clicks. So I'm sure I can move on, or I can just go back and maybe rewrite the code on my own in a bit different way, just to make sure that everything is there.
Okay, sure.
Okay. I have also.
You said you wanted to walk through the code, like, so you want to share your screen?
Yeah. Sure. Just tell me if you see my screen.
Yep, I see it.
Okay, cool. So I posted here in Chrome console the code. I also shared the code. If you want to see the code, I put it on my GitHub. If it's easier for you to also check it.
Is this number 4, creating libraries out of order? I think, did you submit?
I didn't submit.
Oh, you didn't.
No, not yet.
Okay. Can you send me the link?
Yep.
In the chat, and I'll open it up. Yeah, just paste it right there in the right.
Okay.
Yeah, just ignore it. I don't know why they haven't been able to figure out that problem. It seems like solvable. But anyway.
Okay.
All right,
see the link?
yeah, so I'm looking at it.
All right. So I was just thinking too, because I understand, and if I go to your, if I would copy this code here. Okay. So I don't know if you're following my screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're checking. Okay, so I understand the part here. I have, so here the idea is that in the IFI or immediately invoking function, I have the function library system and then another function library loader that are combined together. And the idea here is I understand them because in this part it says if arguments not linked is more than one, it will save the library, the new library name in the library storage as a new object, and it has different parameters here. No, sorry, not parameters, but properties. And yeah, so I understand the part when you're actually saving the code into the library storage. So I think that's very straightforward because the code would just end here. But then if I would use the last part, just a second, and this, okay. All right, so I would step in and it says, so now I'm just putting in the library system just work blurb, and it should actually spit in this code together with the dependencies.
Mm-hmm.
So the first, it goes into this part. Length is 1, so it's gonna skip this code and it's gonna go to else. It's gonna return the library loader, the other function with the library name. It goes through, creates the new dependencies array, creates the variable library just to save time for not typing all of this again.
Wait, slow down.
Yep. Okay.
So you create a new array, and then in line 20, you're grabbing
library storage library name as a library only.
I see.
Or
and
I
then,
can even call it current library.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then, okay. And then next in 22, all right, just keep going.
So if it's, yeah, so if false and it's false, it goes into this, it says new dependency array. I'm trying to actually map or put in the...
Wait, can you stop moving hovering over things
yeah,
so
sure.
quickly?
Sorry. Yeah,
it's hard to read when you do that.
Sorry.
All right, just give me a second. So
Yep.
you're gonna map on each dependency and return library system dependency. New dependencies. Scroll back up to library system. Go down. So loaded library equals library callback. Okay. I kind of see what's happening. What's the question that you have?
So actually,
wait, does your code work?
Yeah, it works.
Okay.
So it works because I mean, I would say I borrow the code from other people. I just checked how other people did it. So it works, but I'm still, because I didn't write it from scratch, and then I just kind of took some ideas. I'm not sure if I understand it completely. That's why I just wanted to go with you and see if actually everything makes sense, or if how I understand it, it's the it's the truth.
So new dependencies array, can you hover over that in line 23? That's nothing.
So it's still nothing, but now it will go through dependencies array, and it will map all the dependencies, and it's going to actually return library system dependency and go back to the library system function.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused why you created new dependencies. Oh, because
because they need to be loaded again in order for
so your new dependencies array is only used in the if statement, right?
Yep.
So it's always given a value of an empty array, and then but it's never used as an empty array.
It's never used as an empty array, yeah.
Right. So it's confusing because that's confusing, right?
Okay.
So that's unnecessary. So that's a problem. Maybe not functionally a problem, but it's definitely confusing because it's doing something for no reason.
Okay.
Because it's either going to be thrown away or it's going to be overwritten in line 23, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it can also be called here variable new dependencies array without having actually this, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's that. Let's go. So in 23, we're mapping over each of the dependencies in library.dependencies array. Where's library.dependencies array from? Where's that variable from?
It's from here. So library.
Oh,
so
I see.
Because library would be library of the library name, and then it goes here to dependencies array, which is actually it's here.
Got it. So it's trying to go grab all the dependencies, and then it's going to call library system on it. Okay, you want to just step into that? So keep on stepping through.
So
now, step in.
Yep. So now
now you're back
with the library name of name, because that's one of the dependencies, right?
Right, exactly. So just keep going. It's going to go to library loader again. Okay.
So again, this is set to nothing because
yeah, so we can ignore that. And then so library will be equal to, can you hover over library in 20? It has a callback.
So the library was it's actually this one, right? It's the name, and then it has no dependencies.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, and it has the callback.
So then you're going to go through that, and it's going to map over nothing because dependencies array, hover over library.dependencies array.
Yep. So this part actually, it would just automatically skip, right? Because it has no dependencies.
Right. So step into it, and we'll just go over it. Yep.
So this is one of the questions, right? If there are no dependencies, the code would just automatically skip through all of this, right?
Yep. Yeah, because you can't remember when we wrote map in test-driven development. You having no elements is like having a for loop with that doesn't do anything. Remember?
Okay.
Because you're going to iterate over the length of the array. You remember that? But if you array 0, you're not going to do anything.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're going to run the callback and pass in new dependencies array, which is
empty.
Empty.
So it would go here and return Gordon.
Yep. So that was one of your questions, right?
Yeah. And then actually it goes back. So it will return this loaded. I just save it here as a loaded library.
Right.
Equals all of this.
you'll want to look at pay attention to the call stack. So remember in the recursion videos where I kept track of the call stack using the call stack diagrams, which are basically a fancier, simplistic way of looking at what you see on the right, the call stack. So what you can do, because sometimes it's easy to forget where you are, you can click into the previous frame. So you see the arrow on library loader, click on library system, and you can see the call that preceded this one. Right, library loaded was called by library system, which called library loader in line 14. And
yeah, that's how I was going back actually, because I didn't really understand when it returns how this work blurb comes back, and then it actually never gets popped out of stack until all this is done. And it iterates through the map, right? It returns all the values, and then it goes back to this and then finishes the code, right? Okay. So yeah, it will return value Gordon. And actually, yeah, it goes back, return value Gordon, and then it goes to the other dependency.
Right, it's gonna do the same thing basically for company. And then once it gets those values, then it has the dependencies array, and it can apply for the work blurb, right? So it looks like you got there. Return value watching code. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so the map is running recursively. That's why you're getting all these stack frames.
Is it so? Yesterday it took me a while to understand this code, and I was like going through the debugger so many times. This morning I did it again, and it was actually clear. But I still want to just check with you and to make sure I understand this. And also, like, is it normal that, or how should I put it? I don't think I could I could figure out an answer to this challenge without actually looking at other people's code a bit.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common. This one's pretty difficult because if you look at it like at its surface, it seems pretty simple. The questions, it seems simple, right? It seems like a small twist on the previous question, which was a lot could be very short. But it requires you to combine a lot of things that might not be I mean, they're familiar to you, but they're not like comfortable to you yet. So I think that's fine. That it's pretty common for you at this stage not yet to be able to work through a solution like this on your own. But I think
was just wondering because
go ahead.
Go.
Yeah, so I think probably a small percentage of students will be able to do this on their own. But regardless of whether you did it on your own, I think what you should do afterwards is to make sure you understand how the solution works, which is what you're doing right now. So to take it a step further, what I would do is read like all the solutions and get a sense of how different people wrote it, because like this one, I can't remember. I feel like there's other approaches as well that to me seemed simpler. And so it could be helpful for you to see that. Like, I'm not sure which solutions you
I looked through quite a few of them. I looked through quite a few of them, and then when I was reading through the code, I read through this one. I was like, okay, maybe I understand this a bit better than the other ones. I was actually trying to use this idea because some of the other ones, I don't know, I felt like were like I felt like this one I could understand, and that's why I went into it. But I definitely planned, like, once I understand this code well, then just what you said, just to check other people's submissions.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what's going to be really helpful, because like personally, I don't think this is the easiest to understand solution.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, I might be wrong since it's been a while. But seeing it done many different ways is definitely helpful, because it's basically just reinforcing the same problem, because like at the end of the day they all do the same thing, but the approach is different, and it can be it can kind of expand your mind and make you think in ways that maybe you wouldn't have thought of before.
Okay.
Right. Then
I
in
mean,
the future, be something similar. You have more things that you have more strategies that you could choose from.
all right. Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks.
Any other? Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, good work. That stuff is hard. So, don't get discouraged as you go through it.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. All right. So next, I think was Russ.
Hey, Gordon, how you doing today?
Good. Thanks. How about you?
Very well, very good, very good. I finished practical JavaScript, so I'm pretty psyched.
Nice. Good job.
I'm pretty psyched. There was one issue that I had, and it was in version 11.
Mhm.
It was the second video, to-do list dot toggle all should use for each. And it was the very first case where I added 3 items, and the test case was to, if everything is true, make everything false. And when I tried to toggle, after I toggled the 3 items, when I tried to toggle them again to make everything false, it would not, it wouldn't work basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering if I could show you what I did and perhaps find out why. I took a lot of time going through the code line by line, but I still couldn't find out why. When I hit the toggle button, I couldn't make everything false.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's see.
You gonna share your screen and walk us through?
Yes, sir. Back here.
And then one thing I just want to throw out there to see if there are any volunteers. I'm trying to get students more involved in helping each other out. So if there's anyone that wants to help out with Russ's problem, feel free to, because I think everyone here has already finished practical JavaScript. So just chime in if you have if you want to help out.
Gordon, can you see the code from here?
Mm-hmm.
You can, okay. Let's see, so if I were to switch, so here is where I made everything true. And when I toggle all again, I'm not getting anything. Things aren't going back to false.
Mm-hmm.
So the code is here, and I spent, as I said, I especially focused in on the toggle completed and toggle all methods in the handlers under the handlers object, and I just couldn't figure this out by myself.
Okay.
Does anything look off to you there?
Oh, Sherry said, can you increase the code size?
Okay, sure
Maybe
can.
Command plus or Control plus. Can you run it through the debugger?
Okay. Nothing, let's see, I don't know what I'm experiencing here, but it's not.
All right, delete line 43. Go to the app. Open the console. Hold on.
Oh, go back to Element.
No, stop. On the left of Element, deselect that phone tablet thing. Okay. Now go to Sources and expand this. Pull it up. Add a breakpoint to the part you're interested in.
And I'm sorry, I don't know how to do that.
Go to client.js.
Oh, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yep, here we go. That's what you meant. So that would be, let's see.
Can you hover over line 17, the squiggly part? Cannot read completed of undefined.
Cannot read properly.
Okay. Anyways, add the breakpoint to the spot where you're interested in. The part you're confused about.
So let's see.
No, don't. You can't edit here. You want to just click the line number and it'll.
Okay.
Did I teach that in practical JavaScript? That you could just click and add a breakpoint like that?
I don't recall. You may have, but I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just go ahead and do it in the right spot.
Okay.
I don't think this is the right spot. Go ahead and refresh the page and then just hit refresh.
Okay.
Okay, and then open client.js again. Okay, it's open. All right, so put the breakpoint in the toggle all function that you're confused about.
Okay, toggle all.
Okay, now get that code to run.
I'm sorry. Gordon,
So how do you get this code to run? Hey, Sam, you want to chime in?
Oh, no, you can go ahead. I was just gonna say kind of exactly what you're saying.
Well, normally from here, there would be, I would step over on the right-hand side using the process we use in the debugger. Am I not correct?
You're not correct.
Okay.
You need to trigger the code first. You need to get the code to run.
Click the toggle for it, right?
Toggle all,
Mm-hmm. we go.
Okay. Do you see the relationship now between running the code and?
I do.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that's clear. So it's not
Yeah.
just going to run by itself. You need to
That's-
trigger it, at least in this case.
Okay.
Okay. So which part of the code are you having trouble with?
I'm having trouble with toggle all, with the toggle all function where when I make all the items true, when I click it again, all the items should be false. And that's
Well, so
not.
then
Huh?
can you add an item then? Because it's not gonna, it has nothing to toggle right now. So you have to hit play to resume. Yeah.
Item one.
Okay, you're gonna hit toggle now. Okay. Step over. Step over. Can you scroll down so we can see the code? Can you hover over so step in, do step into. Hover over to do. In line 24.
Okay. Oh,
To
I'm
do.
sorry. Yep, to do.
Completed is false. Item 1. Okay. All right. To step over. So completed to do's is still 0, right?
Yes, it is.
Can you pull the window up more so we have more
Okay.
space? As much as you can. Okay. All right. To keep going. So what do you expect to happen?
I expect that once I toggle item one, that an X should appear in the parenthesis. And when I toggle item, toggle all, that X should disappear.
Okay, so step over or step in, step into. What's completed to do's and what's total to do's? What is completed to do's equal and what is total to do's equal?
Completed to-dos equal total to-dos.
What are the values?
What are the values?
What are they equal to?
Completed to-dos. The values, they're equal to what I, well, in this case, it would be equal to item one.
No.
Gordon, can I interject for a second?
Sure.
He's realizing that with this conditional statement, you're saying if the completed to-dos is equal to total to-dos. So it's not, we don't know right now if it's actually equal. It has to see if it is equal, and then it will do in the if, otherwise it'll do the else. So if you hover over, I mean, you could actually see if you hover over completed to-dos and you hover over total to-dos, you'll see what the values of them are. So it's going to go right into the else statement.
I see. Okay.
Right, but I'm asking you, the reason I ask is because you should know that, like, as you go through,
mhm.
you should keep in mind what everything is, because otherwise you cannot make sense of what's going on. Right, like what Sherry just did is she was like, well, they're not equal, so then you would go into 33, or you would go into the else section, right? You have to have a sense of the current state you're in to make sense of each line that you're going through. So that's what I'm just asking you. And I'm also asking you because knowing how to, if you don't know the values, you should know how to figure it out by just hovering over it, or looking at the scope section on the right. Like, there are many different ways to find that value, or even in the console, you can type completed to-dos and find that. So I'm just kind of quizzing you to kind of emphasize, like, these are things that you should pay attention to.
Absolutely.
So keep going. So what is to do completed at the current moment? It's
It's
false,
full. Yeah.
right? Okay, so step over. Okay. All right. Just keep going. So that worked, right?
It did.
Okay. So you're saying that if you toggle it again, it's not going to work?
That's what I believe.
Hit play. Just hit play. And let's
Okay.
see if that is true. Okay. So you have seemingly a lot of problems at this. Like, what's the reg squiggly point in line 1?
That is doc.html. That was there when I switched over to Glitch, so I didn't bother it.
Mm-hmm. I'll go to your site, Wiry, because I think it's going to take too long.
Okay, but does that make sense? There was when it went over to Glitch, I just I saw that, but I didn't take anything out that wasn't. I guess that you didn't take out.
Okay, so, you can stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
Just because the interest of time, I'll just figure out what's going on.
Okay. Let's see here.
All right, so remember we talked about the formatting, Russ? Needs work. Formatting needs work. I'm having trouble reading this, which is making it hard to debug.
We did talk about the formatting.
So handlers toggle completed. It's not working at all. Okay. So get element my ID. So toggle completed position input. Why are you looking at? Oh, this is toggle completed. We want toggle all. My bad. Wait, can you mute? There's a siren in the background.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna toggle all. Step into it. Completed to do 0. Okay. So at this point, line 17, you have an issue. This is from before. So you have a problem with line 17 anyway. That's an unrelated problem. So completed is true. So I think the problem is with your display to-dos. Display to-dos. It works here, but if you do it again, to-do list.toggle all, I think will work. So now all the completed to-dos. Let's go now. We go in here. Completed is true. So completed will increment by 1. So it'll be 1. And then completed to-dos is total to-dos. So to-do completed will be equal to false. Right? So to-do list dot to-dos of 0. Wait. Oh, there's your problem right there, Russ. You're mixing up assignment and comparison. So the lesson from the last time applies again. When you have a problem, you need to go through character by character. This is a typo issue, right? Because as soon as you go here and you realize that you didn't get what you wanted, then you need to really closely inspect what's going on, right? And if you closely inspect this line, you'll see the problem right here. Does that make sense? Do you see the problem, Russ? Russ, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, when you say to do not completed triple equals
Yeah.
false. Yep.
So dude, you gotta be more careful. Like you gotta go character by character. When you see something that doesn't work the way you expect, you need to especially scrutinize it. That's how you avoid mistakes like this.
Got it.
This is not an understanding mistake. I think this is a carelessness mistake.
Okay.
So you have to, because I think this issue has come up a couple times. So then you need to hone in on it and really focus on it, right? And I think it's a common issue. It's a precision issue and just a character by character kind of problem, right? And then you can use the debugger to help you isolate the issue, right? So like once I got here, as soon as I ran case 1, I realized it didn't work, right? So when you get to case one and you can see that it's still true, why is that? Then you can scrutinize this further. So scrutinizing alone is helpful. I think even if you only scrutinized, you didn't run through the debugger at all, I think you would find this. If you can combine understanding with character by character scrutinization, you can do things much faster. But I think there's this, the thing is, if the code does not run like my code, there must be an issue with your code, right? And so you need to find that issue. And I think some people might be concerned, oh, it's my computer, it's my browser. You can test that hypothesis too, right? Okay, maybe you think it's your browser or a plugin or a Chrome extension. Well, then just don't use any extensions. You can also just run my code and then see, does my code behave the same way in the same environment? If my code is broken too, then it might be an issue with some environmental thing. But I've found the case maybe in 1 in 1,000 times. So it's pretty unlikely for that to be the problem. But it's still something you can rule out, right? It's still something worth ruling out. If you have a doubt about it, you can rule it out. So whenever you have a question about, like, can I rule this out? You have to methodically think about, how can I rule it out? How can I rule it out? Right? So with this, what I would do is probably run my code. Like on each video, you can just go to the URL I'm on and you can run my code. You can see how it behaves, right? And then if it behaves correctly and yours doesn't, then you know with certainty you have a problem with your code. And that's where the exercise is really valuable, is for you to find that, right? And even if it's painful, even if it takes a lot of time, that's what, like, I think builds confidence over time. So the next time you run into a scenario like this, take the time to struggle however long it takes and find it, right? And if you really are methodical about it, it shouldn't take that long. Like, even if you went through character by character, like actually went through character by character and concentrated, there's only 100 or so lines of code. So that is something that wouldn't, like, 1 hour, so you could do it well within 1 hour. And then if you learn how to use the debugger and kind of combine understanding with that, you can make it go by even faster. And then you can isolate the part that you know is the issue, right? Because I think you were doing this, like you isolated it to, it must be in toggle all. So then you have a case of looking at not 100 lines of code, but 20, right? And then when I went through the debugger, I found, all right, we're actually worried about like 2 lines of code and then 1 line of code. Do you see what I mean? Like, that process of elimination is important. Russ, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I was listening.
Yeah. So that's all. I'm just trying to think about, now that we figured this out, like, how do you think about things in a way such that in the future you don't get stuck on this? That's the problem I'm trying to solve.
Right. I think you said it. I knew the problem was with the test case in toggle all, and I should have just zoned in right there and just spent all my time making sure that the code was perfect, basically.
Right. But again, like, that's what I mentioned too, because I mentioned this in the past, is the style is inconsistent, right? So precision starts with the basics, right? Indenting consistently, and like this line should start at the same indentation as, like, this line should be the same indentation level as this line, but it's not. This should be indented, this should be indented, this should be indented, this should be indented, but it's not, right? So you really, the mistakes pile on to each other, right? And inconsistent indentation I look at as a mistake. It's unacceptable. Like, you should really try to try to be consistent, because it makes things a lot easier for you. Right? It's really easy to ignore the importance of the consistency, but don't. Okay.
Yep, absolutely. And I sometimes I happen to think it looks neat to me, and I get what you're saying. Even once I'll have some indentation that's off, but I'm looking at, I don't know. I need to pay more attention to the indentation. Sometimes the rest of it looks neat, and I think that's okay. But indentation, as you say, is part of the neatness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Sherry mentioned, do you understand the difference between triple equals and equals?
I thought actually, what was it? Triple. Actually, I thought they were the same thing. However, triple equals was, let's say, triple equals was more accurate in when using it as an assignment.
So again, you really need to play around with this stuff. I mentioned that triple equals is for comparing things. Only equals is for assignment. And you just, I mean, if you have in your mind that it might be something else, you need to test that, right? So if you do var a equal triple equals 1, and then got syntax error, right? Like clearly you cannot assign things using triple equals. It's not allowed. So no, I recommend reviewing the part where I talk about that and also playing around with it. So if you have any assumptions like, oh, I thought it could be used for A, B, and C, write them down and then rule them out with proof, like actual code, and test all of your assumptions. Because I think there's some assumptions there that are not correct.
Yep, I think that's a great idea, and I will. And in a sort of weird way, I think it was good that I had this mistake, because now I can go back through this again. Instead of, had I not making this mistake, I just would have probably moved on and not thought about it more deeply than I do now.
Okay. Yeah, I highly recommend that you review. I think that's the next step. Rather than continue, I think you should go back and review things.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So yeah, keep it up. I know it can be tough, especially when you get stuck on these little things. But just they'll start to go away as you get better. All right. So next we have Adnan.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, good. Thanks.
So I'm pretty okay. I don't have any questions. I just wanted to share my progress, I guess. I'm done with test-driven development, and I even went through a simple test. I just have to watch the last video for it, and the simple test was kind of a walk in the park compared to test-driven development, and it was like pretty simple, honestly.
Pretty simple, yeah.
So yeah, that's about it, and I'm looking forward to Accounting.js then.
Yeah, Accounting.js is not simple.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's not. Yeah.
I try to.
The only problem I might. Sorry. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go on.
Oh yeah, so
no,
I try to break
first,
it up. Yeah, so I try to break things up. So after Accounting.js, I tend to have something that's like simple test, more of a breather, help you reinforce things, so that you're not always just hammered all the time. So.
I get that, and plus it was kind of like a positive reinforcer. I kind of found out that I can do stuff. It's not like I'm just groaning through stuff. And the only thing I had the problem with Reduce when I was going through it was maybe I was just typing in I was just typing in the code at the wrong places, you know. But then when I watched a couple of those videos about and the event loops and everything else, it kind of started to make sense why things have to be the way, why they have to be placed in a certain manner.
Mm-hmm.
It take me some time to really understand it, but I think I'm getting there.
Cool. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Nice
So yeah,
work.
thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, it's good to see you make continued progress and show up in the morning meetings and
I try to show up in the morning meetings, but it gets
Mhm.
really close to work. So I
Right.
try to show up on these Monday things more often. But yeah, I'll try to show up in the morning things as much as I can.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, it's always good to
And
hear progress. Um, like I love seeing you here, Russ, Sam, like the regulars that are like, because I can see the difference between each time, um, and that you're still
awesome.
trying. That's
Oh
the most
yeah, I
important
gotta
thing.
do this.
Yeah.
I'm in too deep anyway. So yeah, I'm doing this.
Yep. Awesome.
So yeah, enjoy the week ahead, and that goes the same for everyone else in the room. All right, take care.
Cool.
Bye.
Yep. See ya, Adnan. All right. So we got Sam last. Back from vacation, Sam. Oh, Sam said he'll be back. Okay. Well, I guess we can catch Sam once we go off the air, since I don't know when he's going to be back. But we're at time now, so we're right after 7 p.m. My local time. So what we'll do is we'll go off the air, and that'll be it for the live stream. So if you joined in for office hours and you're watching on the live stream, and you want to continue the conversation, then join the Hangout, and you can continue the conversation. We have a more casual off the air conversation. We're just have a more just wider ranging discussion about things, whatever you all want to talk about. So join that now if you wanna get in on that. If not, if you're just watching and you can't join that or you don't want to, then thanks for taking the time to watch, and hope to see you next week. If you have any comments or questions or anything, you can always email me. It's gordon@watchingcode.com. All right. Thank you, everyone. So I'm going to stop the broadcast now.